Why you can't save money even when you try. You've tried to save money. Maybe you cut streaming services. Maybe you brought lunch to work for 3 weeks straight. Maybe you told yourself this month would be different. And then the month ended and you looked at your account and the number was the same. Or worse. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why that keeps happening. And I'll tell you right now, it has nothing to do with discipline. There is one number in your budget that determines whether saving is even possible for you right now. If that number is wrong, it doesn't matter how many subscriptions you cancel or how many times you make coffee at home. I'll show you what that number is and how to calculate it. By the end of this video, you'll know whether your saving problem is a math problem or a spending problem, and those require completely different solutions. Let's start with a number. The Federal Reserve runs a survey every year called the Survey of Household Economics and Decision-Making, the SHED report. In their 2024 release, they found that 37% of American adults could not cover an unexpected $400 expense without borrowing money or selling something. 37%. That's not a fringe statistic. That's more than 1 in 3 adults in the wealthiest country on the planet. And here's what that number actually means. These people aren't failing to save because they don't know they should. They're failing because the math doesn't leave room for it. Let's talk about why. Why you can't save money even when you try to. Most saving advice works like this. You earn money. You spend less than you earn. You save the difference. Simple, logical, and completely useless if the difference is zero. Here's what a real middle-class budget looks like on a $60,000 salary in 2025. Take home after federal tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare, and health insurance premium, roughly $3,400 to $3,700 a month depending on your state and deductions. Let's call it $3,500. Now the fixed costs. These are the numbers that come out every month whether you like it or not. Rent for a 2-bedroom in a mid-sized U.S. city, $1,500 to $1,800. Call it $1,600. Car payment at the national average, $735. Insurance, $165. Gas and maintenance, $200. Total transportation, $1,100. That's $2,700 in housing and transportation alone, out of $3,500. You have $800 left. For groceries, utilities, phone, internet, and everything else that makes up a life. Boost a moderate grocery plan for one adult, $350 a month. Utilities, electric, water, gas, $220. Phone, $90. Internet, $75. That's another $735. You have $65 left. Per month. Before anything goes wrong. Before a copay. Before a birthday. Before your registration is due. Before you buy a single item of clothing. $65 is not a savings problem. It's a margin problem. And you cannot budget your way out of a margin problem. Why you can't save money even when you try 3, here's where I need to make an important distinction. Because not every can't save situation looks the same. Type A is the person we just described. Their fixed costs genuinely consume the available margin. At $50,000 to $65,000 in household income, with median fixed costs in a median cost city, there is mathematically very little room. The advice to just spend less doesn't apply because there's nothing discretionary left to cut. Type B earns more, let's say $75,000 to $90,000, and still can't save. That person has a different problem. They have margin, but lifestyle inflation absorbed it. Every raise went to a nicer apartment, a newer car, better restaurants. The margin existed and disappeared before it could become savings. I want to be honest here. The research on exactly what percentage of can't savers fall into each category is genuinely messy. I've seen studies that attribute 60% of the problem to structural income cost gaps and studies that put it closer to 30%. The honest answer is that it depends heavily on income level. Below $65,000 in household income, structural causes dominate. Above $80,000, spending choices play a much larger role. Most people reading this fall somewhere in that middle zone, and both factors are probably present. Here's the piece that complicates the story further. Some middle-class earners at $70,000 and above do save consistently. The ones who manage it almost always did one specific thing: they automated savings before the lifestyle inflation could catch up. They set up a direct deposit to a separate account the day they got a raise, before they had time to adjust their spending upward. That's not discipline. That's timing and structure. So how do you actually fix this? Step 1 is to calculate the number I mentioned at the start: your real margin. Why you can't save money even when you try. 4, take your monthly take-home, not your salary, what actually lands in your account. Subtract every fixed cost: rent or mortgage, car payment, insurance, utilities, phone, internet, any subscription that auto-debits. Everything that comes out automatically. What's left is your real margin. That's the money you actually have discretionary control over. If your real margin is less than 15% of your take-home, saving by discipline alone won't work. You need a structural change first, and the two structural levers are housing cost and transportation cost. Those are the two line items large enough to actually move the math. If your real margin is 15 to 25%, you have room to save, but only if you automate it before you see it. Because if it sits in your checking account, it will disappear into the month. If your margin is above 25% and you're still not saving, that's a different conversation, and it means lifestyle inflation is your primary obstacle, not structural costs. Here's what I want you to do before you watch another video. Calculate your real margin. Pull up your last bank statement. Add up every fixed cost. Subtract from your take-home. Write the number down. That number tells you what kind of problem you're solving. And that's the only way to pick the right solution. If your margin is under $500 a month, the next video on this channel is the most important one for you. It's about how to break the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle when there's almost no room to work with. Subscribe, and it'll be there. Why you can't save money even when you try. 5. One question before you go, and drop it in the comments. I actually read them. What's your real margin after fixed costs come out? Just the number. I want to see what people are actually working with.